All right, we have not learned that. Have we not watched Moana? Well, actually, this wasn't probably in Moana. All right, so when I say talofa, you say talofa back. Okay, now technically it's supposed to be talofa lava, but shorten it, that's okay. Okay, so let's practice. All right, okay, talofa. Oh, okay, that was pretty tepid. Okay, now let's do this a little better. Now sit up straight, get the airways kind of clear, support from the diaphragm, and come on, we can click this thing. Or do I have to click it this way? Did it click? All right. And then make believe that my cousin is yelling with you. He's 6'3", 350 pounds. Yeah. Okay, so ready? Here we go. Talofa! All right. Not bad, but not good either. Let's see if we can get, the outside people wondering what is happening in there. And maybe we can actually upstairs. Okay, let's try this again. Talofa! All right, that's way better. I wouldn't give you a prize, but All right, so, well, I guess. I used to work actually in Des Moines several years ago, so that's my Des Moines connection in a sense. But I was working for CDS Global. I live in Columbus, Ohio, or actually I'm about an hour and a half southeast of Columbus. But from here, Columbus is Columbus. And I guess CDS had trouble finding Perl developers in the local area. So they were hiring out in California. So I got hired out in Sunnyvale, and the parent company of CDS Global is Hearst Media. And so they had a company, so it was a sister company called Caboodle, and rather than creating a new CDS Global out there, we just became Caboodle employees and just co-located in their facility. So, and then at some point in time, they wanted to add some CDS Global people out in Des Moines, and the VP in New York City said, hey, David lives in Ohio. That's right next door to Iowa. Why don't we have him go over and train those guys? So I came out here maybe once, twice a month, and worked with the guys here. So that was kind of fun. I am an API, right? So, Asian Pacific Islander. My mom's Chinese, my dad is Samoan, and I grew up in California, so. Yes, one of the things that we are going to try today is to actually say my last name. It's kind of hard, but it's Laulusa. Okay, so now we've done the echo voice thing already, so we should be able to do pretty well, okay? We don't have to yell it, that's okay. So, la, u, lu, sa. Good, okay, so now put it together, la, u, lu, sa. Okay, pretty good. Now I just have to let you know that my dad says that I don't say it correctly either. So it's going, oh, okay. Now, this all started about a year ago. I was at DevOpsDays Tel Aviv when Leon Adato, he told me, hey, there's definitely more women here in attendance than in DevOpsDays Ohio. And I had noticed that too. And I was going, what were they doing? And what can we do? And so through our journey as a DevOpsDays Committee, which I'm a part of the organizing committee for DevOpsDays Ohio, although we are now called DevOpsDays Columbus. What we can do to increase diversity in our own DevOps world. Now, this talk is woman-centric because I have more examples. However, the principle discussed really can be used for any underrepresented group. Now, I have 5 daughters and 7 granddaughters. So you would think that I would, understand this women thing pretty well, but my kids, they say, Dad, just give it up, okay? Let's see. Oh, okay, so standing in front of me is my mom, and yes, she's short. She's probably about 4'11". So she had tuberculosis when she was 9, was in the hospital for about 10 years, and when she went into the hospital, she was speaking only Chinese, and when she came out, she only knew English. All right, and the doctors had told her she probably wouldn't live past 25, and I think she's turning 85 next week, all right? Now, and she told me this story a couple weeks ago, and I had no idea about, she said when she got out of the hospital, in the hospital, they didn't do very much in terms of schooling. She said she had a tutor, and obviously she learned English, but not much more than that. So when she got out of the hospital, they just plopped her into 10th grade. And they were seated alphabetically, so she was in the back because she was a Wong. She was next to another guy who was a Wong as well, and he had been pretty much, he was the number one, he had the best test scores for math until my mom got there. And I had no idea. My mom loves math, physics, chemistry. I'm going, wow. I guess I should have known that as a son, but how you are as a kid. You don't pay attention to some of these things. And so this is, now when she went out to work, when we went to school, she worked as a secretary at Sunset Magazine. And then later on, she was a library aide at the elementary school and junior high. But she said, I love math. I enjoyed it. I liked physics. I thought I liked physics, but I ended up in engineering. So way back then, there really was no opportunity, or it was harder for a woman to be in a technical field. This was an article that Katherine Phillips wrote a few years ago in the Scientific American. And the main point about this is that diversity enhances creativity. And also, for the business people, diversity can improve the bottom line. Recently, I listened to a TED Talk, and Rocio Lorenzo, she conducted this study to find if diverse companies were more innovative. And they sent out all the surveys, and her team was not optimistic that they would find any correlation. But when they started coming back, the results were clear that there definitely was a link between diversity and innovation. Now, she was not sure whether companies were innovative because they were diverse, or the other way, were they diverse because they are innovative? So she said, I don't know if it's correlation or causation. However, I don't think it really matters. Is that, do one get the other? Go for it. Now, the data also shows that in order to make diversity work or to get an impact on innovation, you have to have at least 20% women in leadership. This is key, and you'll see this number later in the presentation. All right, so before we go any further, we got to talk about the elephant in the room, all right? And get rid of it, all right? I heard this at an open space, and it kind of starts off okay. It says, how do we increase the pipeline, or women in the pipeline? Now, all right, does OH, is that overheard? Is that what? Okay, because when I first saw that, I was going, Ohio? Is everybody from Ohio? Wow, it's because everybody was putting that down until someone, took me a while, all right? So I heard this, and it says, how do I increase the women in pipeline? Do I need to lower my standards? Whoa, don't think this. Don't say this, don't think this. It's stupid. It's insulting. So clear that out of your mind, clear that out of your vocabulary, all right? Now, this is Renee. She's part of our DevOpsDays Ohio committee, and she had decided to join our organization, the organizing committee, because we were cool. I mean, you heard on jaw dropped. I've been called a lot of things, but cool has never been one of them. I've been going, wow. Silence, there was silence on the call. So now this is just one of her tasks was to get the speaker dinner, the venue for the speaker dinner. And so at this point in time, the location, kind of at the top was under construction, and so that's why she's wearing a construction hat. All right, so the last time that I gave this talk is that my wife said that she heard of a study talking about the brain and how they're different between men and women, all right? So generally, men have connections. Your synapses are firing. They're going forward to back, front to back, whatever. And for women, side to side. All right. So what that means is that, okay, so yes, so if depending on if you're left-brained or right-brained, you have your connections going front to back, is that you have the emphasis on that logic and creativity are more pronounced. Women, side to side, relationships emphasizes. So now, and what the study sort of concluded was that while women can do tech, men must do tech because we aren't suitable for anything else. All right? So now what this means for us is that not only do we have to, when we are trying to hire more women to get to that 20%, is that not only do we have to vie for all the other tech companies around, we have to vie for all the companies around, because if women aren't treated well, they're just going to go do something else, and be somewhere else that they do feel appreciated, that where they're treated right. All right? So that's wow. That was cool. That when I found that out, I was going, yeah, that makes sense. All right. So, rule number 1: in order to attract talent, you must be attractive. Right? So now, luckily for us, we can use DevOps principles to become attractive. All right. This is Em-Campbell Pretty. At that point in time that I heard her, DevOps Enterprise Summit or something like that, she was general manager at Telstra. And she said that there was a marked increase in employee retention after they began to apply the DevOps principles in their organization. Chloe Met her at the DevOps Days in Dallas, and she said that she finds the DevOps culture enlightening. She said in her former life as an actress, she said this counsel and advice from others were very measured because they felt that someday you might take their job. But in the DevOps world, everyone's so helpful, they're friendly, they're upbeat, and it feels sincere. And hopefully you've been able to see that here in Des Moines in this conference here. Nicole Forsgren, wow. She's part of the State of the DevOps report in combination with Puppet. And in the 2016 report, it says that you are 2.2 times more likely to recommend your organization as a great place to work, and you're 1.8 times more likely to recommend your team as a great working environment. So once you are living the DevOps, you can start attracting more people, other people. One of the things that she said recently says, instead of a destination, pick a direction and continuously improve. Crystal Huff, met her in Tel Aviv, and kind of in this vein of continuous improvement, or Kaizen, during an open space, she suggests that when a woman leaves a job, have her come back kind of as a consultant for a blameless postmortem or retrospective. She didn't call it that, but that's generally what it is. Now, if you've talked to Jason Hand, we would call it a post-incident review. Okay, so have her come back, pay her as a consultant, ask questions, and then shut up and listen. Right? Don't justify your actions. No defense, no blame. And the only thing really that you'd want to say is just for clarification. Susie Ched, wow, where did I meet her? She's cool. But one of the things that we do as part of DevOps, right? Smaller batches. So your batch sizes are smaller. And your sphere of influence is smaller than your sphere of concern. So just start small. Start wherever you are. One of the things she likes to say is like pink conference shirts. So how many gray or black conference t-shirts do you have in your closet? I got a lot. And I've actually started giving mine away. My son has a lot of mine now, Of course, how many does he need either? Another thing that she said, very interesting, is that you should be paid based on the salary band and not your former W-2. One of the examples she gave was somebody who was working two jobs, one of which was what's the coffee place out of St. Louis? Starbucks barista. So, two jobs, and so, you don't make that much. But she had gone to gone some training and was able to interview for this junior dev position. And so a lot of times, a lot of companies will say, well, what have you been making? And then they adjust a little bit higher, but it's still pretty low or even lower than the salary band. So do what you can, do the right thing. So pay based on the salary band, not on your former W-2. Okay, so my wife is a LuLaRoe consultant. We've got clothes all over the place. This is our living room. All right, so pretty much takes the entire downstairs with clothes. Now, once she has it all set up, can she just kind of sit down and wait for the customers to come there? No. She has to go out to where, her clientele are, to go find them. In the same way, we need to go to find where women are. Girl Develop It, Women in Tech, You Can Code, things like that, and invite them to come. So you go where underrepresented groups are, invite them to attend. DevOpsDays Tel Aviv, they went out to go specifically to where women are, one of which was the military. So they went and got quite a few from there. In Columbus, we work with Girl Develop It meetup group, and I was also connected with the Women in Tech. Yes. Now at Bell Labs recruited at all major universities. However, we weren't getting a good percentage of underrepresented groups, so each department was charged with going to lesser known universities to recruit. So our department went to Southern Illinois University, they had campuses at Edwardsville and Carbondale. So I would go, we'd go down there to the job fairs and recruit, okay? And we'd also work with some of the student groups, like SWE and NSBE. We'd always have pizza, and say, hey, come on down. So NSBE, National Society of Black Engineers, SWE, Society of Women Engineers. So you know how college kids are with pizza. If there's pizza, they will come. So, and we also tried to hold professional seminars like interviewing, resume writing, or how the phone network works. So, speakers, because Heidi, I read a blog post of hers, and it said, conferences should seek a balance to their speakers because people are more likely to attend when the speakers are more like themselves. And when I read this, I was going, that's more work for me, right? So as an organizer, that we need to consciously and on purpose look for diversity in your speakers. Now, while this is specific to conferences, it can also be applied to hiring. People would like to see people in leadership positions like themselves. And a few days ago, I just found this one. So Ashley McNamara, donate your time, donate your money to causes that you believe in, to groups that do things that you want to do. So she's really into Go. So, a couple of Go Lang organizations. For DevOps Columbus, we partnered with Girl Develop It. Recently, we had a meetup with a really good panel, mostly from women in tech, that they talked about how to write better titles and better abstracts for technical conferences. Our hope was to increase the number of women who submitted for our CFP. That was our first year. We need to continue that, so we'll be doing something else soon. And at DevOps Days Hartford, 3 out of the first 4 speakers were women. So now we have improved, but we're not anywhere near as good as them, the way they do. Okay, so after the NFL draft finishes, that's when they start looking for diamonds in the rough, UDFAs, right? Undrafted free agents. Teams will often look at unusual places or lesser known places to find talent that perhaps hasn't blossomed yet. They often feel that with excellent coaching, some of these players can make their roster and might even become starters. So probably Tony Romo is probably one of the more famous UDFAs out of Eastern Illinois. So it was interesting in the talk by Rocio Lorenzo, when she talked about the 20%, is that, she cited SAP. I used to work at SAP, and that's one of the things that came out in the newsletter saying, in 2011, they had 19% women in leadership and embarked on a journey to increase that number to 25%, which they just reached in 2017. And their goal is to continue to grow it to 30% by 2022. And I guess in the second quarter of 2017, SAP added 2 female executives to the SAP executive board. So that was it happened to be one of the things that Rocio cited in her TED Talk. So kind of that goal, look for 20%. I've seen several tweets lately on the subject of mentoring. Let's see, less rock stars, more mentors. Develop people, not products. If you are a black woman in tech and want to be mentored, please DM me. Too many of us are leaving tech and I want to help. So, be a mentor, find a mentor. All right, so this is ENIAC. Recently, I listened to a podcast on how stuff works, and they were talking about programming languages, and they touched upon ENIAC. ENIAC means electronic numerical integrator and computer. So it's one of the first general purpose computers developed. And so why are these women standing in front of ENIAC? I mean, is that so you would buy a computer for your own home? A furnace, whatever. So now, apparently, historians had first mistaken them for refrigerator ladies, right? Models posing in front of the machine. No, they were the programmers. The original 6 programmers of ENIAC were women. Here's a blurb. In 1946, 6 brilliant young women programmed the first all-electronic programmable computer, the ENIAC, a project run by the U.S. Army in Philadelphia as part of a secret World War II project. They learned to program without programming languages or tools, for none existed, only logical diagrams. By the time they were finished, ENIAC ran a ballistics trajectory, a differential calculus equation in seconds. Yet when ENIAC was unveiled to the press and the public in 1946, the women were never introduced. They remained invisible. So, Kathy Kleinman on the far left, she was a young programmer in the 1980s. She discovered the programmers and these women programmers. And so she did a lot of research and some interviews, and she created a documentary. And it's kind of cool. Check it out. Well, you have to look. ENIAC Programmers, I think it is. But there's like a 20-minute documentary. So Kathy Kleinman says, the ENIAC programmers inspired me to stay in computing at a time when there were few women in my programming classes, and every signal was telling me that computing was not a field for women. So Victoria is a senior in high school, and she's passionate about computer science and making a difference for women in tech. And at DevOps Days Madison, she gave this incredible talk about why you should be a role model. So if you don't have a role model yet, try some of these. Okay, so Sandy Metz, Ruby, right? I have her book. I got it, and she's great. She's great. So Ruby programming. Elizabeth Hendrickson, QA. Test. Oh, yeah. QA. I know her. Do you have the Explore It book? Okay, good. I've got that too. It's really good. She's good. She's great. And I've listened to her speak, and it's great. She's great. Okay. Dominica DeGrandis, Kanban, Lean Flow. Hey there, Pete. There you go. Take that one. Learn from her. She's really good. She's great. Bridget Cromhout. She is on the core DevOps Days Committee. She has great insight, and she's really helpful. You know, people come onto the Slack channel and say, okay, hey, how do you do this? Or how do other places do this? And say, well, here's how we've done it. Here's how others done it. You know, and she's a great resource. When I spoke in DevOps Days Madison, she happened to be in the audience, and so I was kind of way nervous when I was talking about her. Courtney Kistler, at the time when I met her, she was a VP at Nordstrom, and they did just a tremendous DevOps transformation, a great story. I think now she's at Starbucks. Not as a barista, but you know, on the IT side, VP. And then finally, a shout out to my boss when I was at SAP. The very first day, she gave me Phoenix Project and continuous delivery books and said, here, read these and figure out this DevOps thing. So, okay. I had no idea what DevOps was. That's kind of like the first time I ever heard it, and I was actually resistant to go to them because I was going, are you sure you want me? Because I have no idea what this is. She says, well, I don't want to hire a DBA because if I continue going the way that I have been doing, we'll be in a worse mess. So I want you to fix it. I go, oh, okay, sure. Oh yeah, Khadija. At DevOps Days Raleigh, Khadija told us, diversity is being invited to the party. Inclusion is being asked to dance. So if you've heard my tater talk, this is how we dance, all right? So the Dalai Lama, just as ripples spread out when a single pebble is dropped into the water, the actions of individuals can have far-reaching effects. So at DevOps Days Hartford, Susie Che gave us each a pebble. Yes, it's to remind us, but also so that we can have pebble stories for the following year. So, make a difference. Now, in conclusion, the point of this talk is so that I don't have to talk about this. But with these steps here, these are actionable steps that we can all take part in some way, but they require action. Passivity will not cut it, right? So go and do. Thank you.